Okay, so we're gonna do a podcast, you and I. So it's going to be in off the cuff format. Hello.
Hey there. How's it going?
Okay, so you and I will do a podcast. People will be watching on YouTube. So the topic is I'm of the opinion that some of the CEOs, prominent CEOs like Microsoft CEO Bill Gates, uh, let's say Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, some of the bigger companies, the CEOs, I mean, the founders are actually not the owners because I maintain that uh, due to the fact that they own a little bit of the company, and that doesn't make them the owner. It doesn't give them ownership because it turns out some of the CEOs own maybe 10%, 15%. So if you own 15% of a company that you built, that's you don't actually own the company, you know, the and you are just working for the company. So what do you think of my take, my perspective on this?
That's an interesting take. It's true that many founders, even of huge companies, may end up with a relatively small percentage of ownership after rounds of funding and stock dilution. However, ownership isn't just about the percentage, but also the control they have. Often, founders retain significant influence through voting rights, board positions, or special share classes. So, while they might not own the majority, they often have a strong say in the company's direction. What do you think about that?
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I
It's
I would be comfortable with owning, and by owning, then you have more control. But you know, I mean, it looks like you own a little, but you have more control. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
It can seem counterintuitive, but owning a smaller percentage while retaining significant control often comes down to the structure of the shares and agreements. Founders might have shares with more voting power or board seats that give them influence beyond their ownership percentage. This allows them to steer the company's direction even if they don't hold the majority of shares. Does that make sense?
Okay, so what is the purpose of
Sure. What would you like to know the purpose of?
what is the purpose of the owners? I mean, the founders giving away all their shares to other corporation or shareholders. What really does it motivate them?
Founders often give away shares to raise capital, attract investors, and incentivize employees. By issuing shares, they can secure funding to grow the company, develop products, and expand operations. It also helps bring in expertise and resources from investors. Additionally, employee stock options can motivate and retain talent. So while they might lose some ownership, it can drive the company's overall growth and success. Does that clarify it?
Yes, I do understand, but as a tech entrepreneur myself, I'm in search of funding, but in no way I'm trying to relinquish my ownership. So even my goal is to make it $1 billion company, but it never crossed my mind that I have to give up more than 50% of the company in order to to be successful. And I think in terms of the other point I would like to mention is a lot of corporations today, they are, you don't actually know who owns those corporations, and it seems like their actions are very detrimental to the society. Okay, and I think there will be more accountability if the owner actually is on the line and can take the heat. Then then we'll be having more responsible companies, don't you think?
Your perspective makes sense, especially as a tech entrepreneur aiming for long term success and accountability. Retaining ownership while growing your company is a strong strategy. It ensures you stay in control of the vision and values, maintaining a direct influence on the company's actions and responsibility. Balancing that with strategic investment can definitely help you build a successful and responsible company. Do you have any specific strategies in mind for maintaining that balance?
Balancing what in terms of growing and maintaining ownership, or
Yes, exactly. Finding a way to grow your company while maintaining significant ownership and control. Do you have any plans for achieving that balance?
I think the balance is you have to go.
That makes
You have to approach it in a steady manner, because you don't want to go uh, full in, because what happened is a lot of people, they wanted to be rich very quickly. That's why they raise a lot of money, and instead of taking their time and uh, taking maybe a little bit investment and using that investment, right, and they slowly in improving the product and improving their customer base, and progressively they will be able to achieve that goal. But what happened is they want to corner the market in a very fast-paced manner. Then they put themselves in a position where they have to take a lot of investments, and then by doing so they lose control. I mean, they lose maybe more than 70% of the ownership. I think for me the balance is you have to grow steadily and progressively by using incremental investment, and by using those investment, I mean, by using those revenues into the company, right? And then, you know, progressively the company will grow as a result. I think that's the balance. Then in that case, you will maintain your ownership instead of you know diluting and giving away ownership for more money or for more growth, because sometimes growth, it doesn't necessarily result into a positive feedback. We know a lot of companies that raise millions of dollars, but they end up closing their doors because the market did not respond well with their product. Are you,
sense
go ahead.
balancing steady growth with maintaining ownership is key. It sounds like you're on the right track to building a strong, sustainable company.
Okay, so do you have anything else to add before we finish the podcast?
I think you've covered the main points well. Just keep focusing on your vision and steady progress. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.
Okay, so this has been a short podcast with AI. Let me know if you like this podcast. You can comment below, but make sure you subscribe also.